Welcome to America's zombie apocalypse of emotional numbness. If you're a brainless, doom-scrolling zombie, you gotta leave right now because none of this is gonna make sense to you. But if you're not a brainless zombie, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Let us go ahead and begin, shall we? For today's theme is the isolating zombies of the United States. Let's go ahead and see what that's all about. All right. Looks like it's pretty clear. We have on the male side, beginning, the workaholic zombies. All right, so the first zombie in line, I'm doing this for us, for our future. He's never home, never present, never available, but he tells himself it's noble. He's building something. Meanwhile, she's building a life without him. A real man says, the future doesn't matter if I'm not present for the present. I build with you, not away from you. Right, so when you're involved in a serious relationship, you guys gotta work together. There is none of this, I do my thing, you do your thing. Then it's not wise to establish a relationship together. You're not ready. And that's the end of that. Now remember, this series is all about extremism, extreme attitudes that are in the long run or short run very poor and going to destroy the relationship. So keep that in mind. We're just emphasizing here, never present, never home, never available. What kind of a messed up relationship are we talking about here? This is why they go into the zombie category with the workaholic. We're not talking about a little bit of workaholic here. No, we're talking about all the time. And yes, this does exist. There's lots of women out there suffering in this case. And the guy just simply doesn't care. Doesn't give a damn. So it's nothing noble. It's not even building anything when you're absent and you say, you know what, my excuse is work. Well, then you guys need to break up. It's not going to work. And I really hope kids are not involved at that point. Because there is no future for you guys. Not with a brainless zombie like that. Alright, so brainless zombie number 2. I'll slow down when we're secure. Just let me get through this project. Okay, so once again, tagging along with number 1. There's always another project, another promotion, another goal. Now again, there's nothing wrong with that, but we're talking about in excess, unrealistic, just stupid excess here. So slowing down is always tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. A real man says there will always be another project, another goal, another reason to wait. I choose to live now, not later. So you guys got to really realize that living in the moment is everything in this life. There are plenty of things that are completely out of our hands, and then there are things that we can take action for to probably resolve or maybe get done a little bit better. But we're talking about this extremist attitude of being a workaholic slave. Maybe you're just in the wrong career if that's the case. But you gotta resolve it as soon as possible. Because you gotta make a choice. Either you're gonna be a workaholic, married to your job, or married to your wife, or with your girlfriend hoping to get married in the future. You gotta make those decisions. Because if you're gonna insist on trying to have it both ways, you're the brainless zombie trying to make the impossible happen when it's not gonna happen. It will not happen. Alright, so brainless zombie number 3. I provide, don't I? What more do you want? Alright, so here we go with the negative attitude. This is what zombies say. He believes his paycheck is his contribution. His time, his attention, his presence, those are extras, not requirements. Yeah, there's a lot of sick zombies out there who would talk like this. They're not real men, by the way. Because a real man would say, providing is what I do. Being present is who I am. She didn't sign up for my bank account. She signed up for me. And guess what? For all you zombies out there who say, yes, she actually did sign up for my bank account, then you're the dumbass zombie, aren't you? Because think about it. What are you complaining about? If you married a gold digger or you're with a gold digger and you're going to claim that all women are gold diggers, nope. Just the one that you're with. Of course there's lots of gold diggers out there, but why did you choose one yourself? It only makes you look stupid. So if you got burned by a gold digger that you didn't see coming because the red flags were there, you just didn't pay attention, that's your fault. But that doesn't mean that all women are gold diggers just because you got your ass burned, zombie. You see how that works? All right, so brainless zombie number 4, she knew I was ambitious when she met me. All right, so here we go with the excuses, right? For never being present and building the relationship the way it should be. He uses his past self as an excuse to never evolve. Growth means expanding, not just climbing. But he stopped growing toward her years ago. A real man says, ambition isn't an excuse for absence. I can build a career and build a relationship. Both require work. And that's precisely what we're talking about here. You can't just go for one and expect the other to, keep up pace when you're not even helping the situation to keep up pace. Because you put your relationship second to your career or your grinding that you do every day. And that's just not going to work. No, everything in this life requires attention and consideration. You can't just ignore one thing because, well, I think my relationship takes a backseat, optional. Wrong. That's how things fail in this life. You think when you have a kid, it's an option to take care of them? It's an option to teach them things and to prepare them for school and life in general? No. So why would you treat your relationship that way? You see how it doesn't make sense? You have to nurture your relationship the same way you nurture a child that you decided to have. If you're a deadbeat zombie father out there, you know what I'm talking about. You can't just take a back seat and expect everything to work. Just as hard as you work on your job and your career, guess what? You want a relationship because it's the only path to happiness in this life. You got to put in the extra work. And it better not feel like work, otherwise it's not true love. You want that relationship to work out. It's a pleasure to serve your partner as much as it's a pleasure for them to serve you. And it's not just servitude. It's your wish is my command because we want to make this relationship work. You see the difference between brainless zombies and two passionate people who want to make their lifelong relationship work? Your relationship always takes precedence. It's always the number one priority. Otherwise, might as well live alone and miserable and continue your workaholic grind. See where that's going to take you in life. You're just going to end up a bag of bones who was always miserable, bitter like Scrooge. Pretty much. But yeah, so the past self is an excuse to never evolve. Change is a part of growing in a relationship. But stop growing toward her years ago. Yeah, so there's your neglect. That's what these workaholic zombies do. They just neglect what should matter most in their life. All right, so the last brainless zombie for the males here with the workaholic theme. I'm exhausted. I just need to decompress. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see why it's a problem, though. He's too tired for conversation. All right, that's just laziness, okay? You can move those lips of yours. For intimacy, for her. Why did you get in the relationship? Why? You're going to waste her time? I mean, it's okay to be exhausted and get your rest, but this is the extreme, as we discussed before. We're in the zombie level extreme. But he found energy for 60 hours at the office. The truth is where he prioritizes. A real man would say, I'm tired because I gave my best to everyone else. From now on, she gets my best too, not my leftovers. And that's what I was talking about before with prioritization. Your relationship comes first. If you have to work hard at your job, that's fine. But if you can't keep up a great relationship and working hard at your job, you're going to have to make some changes because you're not going to make it. Your relationship's going to suffer, and it might suffer sooner rather than later. And that's on you. You can't blame all women because she didn't support me when I was working hard. You have to be able to have good conversations with her, at the bare minimum, some type of intimacy, she can do things for you in that department if you're so exhausted. But if you have problems getting it up in the bedroom, well, then now it's a health concern. Has nothing to do with your status as being somebody in a serious committed relationship. No, because your health is going down, isn't it? You see what's going on there? So you can't always blame your partner or all women because you're having a stressful life that you chose to work in. You can't. It doesn't work like that. You can't always pass the buck and blame everything but your own poor decisions. You got to change your lifestyle. You got to make some important career switches. And if you say, no, I can't do it, but okay, you're going to have to decide whether to keep your relationship or not, because you're in no condition to keep it, apparently. All right, so shifting gears over to the female zombies, the hustler. I'm a boss babe. Don't we see this a lot of times today? I don't need a man. Oh, here we go. Brainless zombie time. I need an empire. The illusion of fortune. She wears independence like armor. Yeah, that's going to get really boring really fast. You know, a lot of brainless zombies like this, even if they get what they think they want, it's bittersweet in the end. You know, if they get all the money that they wanted, the promotions or both, it doesn't matter. It's not even going to be worth it. You're going to be so exhausted, or it's just going to feel so empty when you finally get what you thought you ever wanted. Everything you ever wanted. Other than love. And then you're going to finally hit the wall and realize when it's too little too late, wow, I guess it wasn't what I thought it was going to feel like. Yeah, but you know what? It's inevitable for brainless zombies out there, because the women will not. These zombie women will never learn or understand this fact. They won't listen. So the "I don't need a man" mantra sounds powerful until you realize she's closed the door on half of humanity. A real woman says, I built something I'm proud of, and I want someone to share it with. Success and love aren't enemies. Exactly. And happiness can only be realized with a lifelong partner. Anyone who says otherwise, as I say many times on this channel, is a fool, is a brainless zombie. And they're going to learn the hard way. They're going to be so energetic saying, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman. It's just a matter of time before, if they wake up one day. And that's why I call them brainless zombies, because most likely they won't. They're infected with that level of ignorance and arrogance. All right, so brainless zombie number 2 in the female category of the hustler. I'll focus on love after I hit my next milestone. Milestones multiply, goals expand. There's always another level. Love keeps getting pushed to someday. A real woman says, life happens now. I don't postpone love for success. I integrate them. Both matter. Yeah, I've actually met, these types of brainless zombies out there who put their work first. They put all their work first, and then when I ask them, hey, how's it going with the love department? Did you find that special someone yet? No, I just been busy. There you go. Now you're going to be wasting the next year, 5 years, the decade, 1 decade, 2 decades. They're going to be too old. Nobody's going to want you. Not with that negative attitude. And I hope your work was really worth it. Hint, hint, it won't be. It won't. No amount of money in your bank account, no amount of fame, or both of those. And you're going to learn the hard way, like everybody else will, if they reach that point, by the way. Because there's a lot of hustlers who never even reach that goal. And then they just keep chasing that carrot at the end of the stick, thinking that, well, the next thing, that I get is going to, the next one, the next milestone that's stated here. You'll never get it. And for those who actually do, you should learn from them. The brainless zombies. Yes, you can learn from them, because they're going to tell you, don't be like me. Don't travel this far with your arms extended thinking that everything's going to be better once you get this, once you get that, without love by your side. None of it's going to be worth it. Postponing love, the most important thing in this life. Brainless zombie number 3. Men are intimidated by successful women. That's false. That's not my problem. It shouldn't be, because it's false. She uses this as permission to be unapproachable. It's not her fault he can't handle her. What's there to handle? Never mind how she presents herself. You know, like, a career is nothing to be intimidated by, whether it's a man's career or a woman's career. And, you know, the brainless zombies who think this way, I really feel sorry for them, because they're not in their profession for the right reasons. You know, using your career to intimidate men, yeah, you're going to be alone forever with that vibrator and cat at home. That's a very miserable life. But hey, that's what brainless zombies want, right? It's just, they're so full of fear to actually make a potential lifelong relationship work that they give up on themselves, and they use their career as an excuse to live alone and miserable forever. A real woman would say, some men are intimidated, some aren't. I focus on the ones who see my success as a bonus, not a threat. Yeah, that's what real men like myself, that's what we see. Hey, that's good for you. You got a good career going. You got good success. I'm not intimidated by it. But if we're going to get together, I'm just a little bit concerned that, hey, are we going to make this work? Is there room for me in your life? Is there room for you in my life? That's what joining forces is all about in a relationship, in a tag team. That's what it is. But if it's not going to work because, well, you know, my career comes first, then don't waste another man's time. Don't do it. Brainless zombies, they'll hit that titanium wall so many years down the road, and they'll be like, oh my goodness, I messed up so bad. With that type of attitude, if you insist. All right, so brainless zombie number 4, I didn't come this far to come second to anyone. Well, you know, this is with that negative intimidation routine, you know, that zombie attitude. She sees relationships as competition. That's so ridiculous. Like, what? Competing over what? Not collaboration. Loving someone means sharing space, not surrendering it. Yeah, there's no surrender when it comes to love. A real woman says, love isn't first or second. It's alongside. I don't compete with my partner. I complete with my partner. Right. Because, you know, the career, the job, if you will, if it's not a career, it's just the next job in line. That's just a means of surviving in this life. But who's by your side? Well, that's survival of the soul. And if you don't believe the existence of a soul, then don't bother wasting somebody else's time, because it doesn't make sense. You'll never feel fulfilled. We are more than just flesh and blood in this life. You know, we're more than just creatures. You know, we exist on a dimension that we have no idea, you know, what we are in the end. We're more than just humans, I can tell you that. I'm not even religious. I'm just saying that I do believe that we all have a soul. Like an energy, a center, without a name. But not to get all philosophical, people who believe this, you know, I didn't come this far to be second to anyone. You know, they're so brainwashed. Or actually, their brain has been wiped out, because we're talking about zombies here. And there's lots of female zombies out there who think this way. You know, they think, you know, dual working relationships. Now I'm in competition. Now I have to be better than the men because we're getting recognized for all these, you know, you want to be the CEO of the biggest company of what it doesn't matter. That actually repels real men, if anything, because it shows an attitude problem on your part. We don't care. The only time we care about your success, as far as your professional success, is if you're very humble about it. You're like, oh yeah, well, I happen to be the CEO of this company, but yeah, but I'm trying to look for love in my life and, you know, expand my horizons, trying to juggle two of them at the same time. Like, say, okay, I want my relationship to work out just as much as I want my career to work out. You know, that level of maturity is what real men are attracted to. Not some boss bitch who wants to take charge of, everything and anything. That's like more of a narcissist zombie. But here we're talking about the hustler zombies, the workaholics. So yeah, that's not a real woman who goes around with that type of attitude, competing with men. The battle of the sexes. Women are better than men. That's the empty skull zombie attitude right there. Just completely possessed by ignorance. Last zombie here for the females. All right, so I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, you are the Walking Dead. Right now I'm grinding. She's proud of her burnout. Exhaustion is a badge of honor, but she's dying inside while building a life she's too tired to enjoy. That's what it boils down to. Even if you get what you think you want, it's just bittersweet. You brainless zombies, you female zombies are going to learn the hard way. Because they'll insist. You got to let them run into that wall. You can't reason with them. You can't teach them anything at that point. It's too little too late. A real woman would say, I'm building a life I want to be awake for. Rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Absolutely, take it easy. Slow down. You don't have to be like a bullet in this life. Sure, progress is always praised and wanted and desired, but not like this. Not to the point where you think that, I'm better than all the men out there. Nobody cares. Not even the real women out there. They don't care about your negative zombie attitude. So you're in competition with nothing, essentially. You're just wasting energy and possibly wasting your entire life. So the longer you say, I don't need a man in my life, the more misery you're packing on, and the more miserable you'll be in the future. That's all you're doing. You're just packing it in. More and more negative energy by repelling that which you should be naturally seeking in life. And the same applies to the male zombies out there. The more you keep saying, I don't need a woman in my life, there's the more misery you keep packing in for the future. It's like a negative investment. A future of misery and real suffering without somebody by your side. Anybody who says that they don't need anybody in this life to love with all their heart and soul is going to meet that unfortunate dark fate. And they'll be the Walking Dead before you know it. And with that said, that's all for today's show. Get access to my free 1-hour unforgettable movie by simply becoming a free member on my website, shown here, where you can also become a potential guest speaker on my show, Let's Talk About Love, where you get to choose the relationship topic of your choice. Who knows? We'll see if you step up to the plate. Much love, everybody.